Hey Sri Lanka, you're checking out the Channa 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 podcast, and I'm going to be featured on it. So make sure to check it out on wherever he says he is, and make sure to share it because he is one of your own. Hey, it's Channa, man. He's a Lankan. He's doing amazing podcasts, and if you're a Lankan, share it with pride because he is someone who is making Sri Lanka proud.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my podcast. We have a very special guest today, all the way from Sri Lanka. We have Yazmin. Hi Yazmin.
Hey, thanks for having me, Channa. You awesome person, you.
So how's your morning, Yazmin?
Machan, I woke up late and I was like, yeah. No, but this is like the case sometimes, like, because insomnia does like steal a part of your night. And then finally, when it comes to like daylight, you sleep like a vampire only to realize that you have commitments in the morning. No. But yeah. So far, so good, I
do
guess.
you normally wake up late or what? Early person or what?
No, man. Like, my sleep patterns, waking patterns fluctuate. Like
Right.
sometimes I'm early at 6, sometimes I don't go to sleep till 4, so sometimes I wake up at 10. So there are days like that.
Right.
So not really fixed, but yeah.
So how's the situation in Colombo now with this COVID and everything?
Touch wood, everyone's following the rules. Well, apart from a few. Everyone's like super cautious, wearing masks, washing hands, doing what's absolutely essential.
Right.
Of course, there's a few buggers who will like, just wear a mask and like go into a supermarket directly. Well, what can you do about that? But at least people I know, they're carrying sanitizers. Colombo seems to be like relatively okay. I think it's the smaller businesses that are struggling as with any part of the world because like there's always that fear, like, where's my food from? Or is the delivery guy okay? So yeah, it's definitely like COVID has impacted, and that impact is still there, but I'd like to think that slowly we're regaining confidence to like buy from outside and just carry on day-to-day stuff, much, huh?
Right. Yeah, so same thing here. We had a very more strict lockdown. Actually, we were not allowed to like go out for some time. We were like, even
Wow.
our villages were like, we have here is the concept of like they call it barangay, which is like a village. So each of the places they have like gated, so you can only go out of like one gate, and you
Oh,
had to have like
wow.
a quarantine pass to go out. So
That's insane. That's stricter than Colombo.
yeah, because we had a lot of cases. I think we still have like 30,000 active cases here. So it's quite
Whoa,
huge.
that's a lot of people.
Yeah. But
Man, I
a
hope all those people recover.
lot of people recover. Actually, the mostly the death rate is quite low. Actually, even though a lot of people got it, it's probably the older and people who are sick actually getting
Yeah.
pass away. Okay. Yeah. I think we'll get back slowly.
Yeah.
But I
That's the
don't know.
dream.
I don't know what
Normalcy.
to say, right? After this, I don't know what will be the normal, right? There's nothing normal anymore, right?
Well, normal is what we make of life right now.
Yeah. So, Yasmin, can you tell me a little bit about your childhood, Yasmin, and also a little bit about your earliest memories of like music?
So, wow, growing up, I grew up in like I guess, not a very typical home because we kept on shifting for a long time, and I grew up like in Dubai predominantly predominantly in my life, and so like it was always with like mixed culture kids, us doing all kinds of crazy things on the street. Family background and music. So like my mother is Pakistani Indian, and my dad is like, Pakistani Sri Lankan, and my dad's Indian. So what happened was, like, our family was always like stuck with the like little cassette players and little Walkmans at the time. So there always used to be like music in the house, like, you know, old Indian hits, some Sri Lankan baila. So that was always there. I don't think there wasn't a day ever where the radio was never on. So I grew up just absorbing and, you know, doing all that stuff as a little toddler. And before you know it, I developed like a crazy little sense for music. And here I am talking to you 36 years later.
So what were the earliest music that you listened to?
Oh, you'll be surprised. Like growing up like in a mixed home, so there was a lot of like Hindi music, there was a lot of English music, there was like just music like a lot of my parents would listen to. So there was nothing that I would like, because as a kid, what choices can you make unless you know have like at a certain age. So when I suppose I came to that realization age, I discovered, you know, bands. Like I remember seeing Aerosmith for the first time on channel 33 in Dubai, and I was like, wow, what is that? Why does that guy have long hair? What is he doing with that long thing around his neck? It was like a whole new world. And then slowly by slowly, I think I discovered like a lot more than the traditional Bollywood stuff and whatever that was played on the radio. So for me, I never grew up listening to maybe like a Engelbert or whatever. It was more like Boney M and sometimes some Clapton and things like that, because my dad, he had like a decent taste for stuff like that. But yeah, that's me and my little recollection of music. But I think it really took off, Channa, when I discovered MTV. Like one summer, Dad decided to get like a, I think it was in the 90s much, and it was like such a huge thing to have like a dish antenna.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you remember those, right?
Yeah.
So you had one of those, you didn't even need to pay for cable because you would just get subscriptions like crazy, channels like crazy. So we used to have like MTV Europe, MTV India, and MTV Asia. Was there an MTV Asia? I can't remember, but there were those two channels. And yeah, I used to like just immerse myself into those because it was like a whole new world, like, whoa, pop culture. Like at school, there were kids who used to like swap cassettes and things like that. But, you know, how much can cassettes really expose you to music? So it was really like MTV all the way, man.
Yeah, because even I remember that back home, Sri Lanka, that those days TNL TV was showing like MTV like few hours, like 4 hours a day, something. So either in the morning or
Wow,
in the
that was
evening, that's
extreme.
where like we were able to watch most of those videos, music videos and stuff. Because every time I speak to the most of the Sri Lankan artists, even hip hop or rock, because there were two shows in MTV. There was Headbangers Ball for metal, and then there
Yeah.
was MTV Jams, which was like hip hop. So a lot of people got a lot of inspiration watching those two shows.
Yeah, I think it was Mike Kasem, right?
Right.
Yeah, that guy, forever with his basketball and like the little background, graffiti background. I remember that.
So before you got into like radio and stuff, were you like active in school and stuff with media and stuff at school?
No, surprisingly, I was a nerd in school. I used to be the kid that always used to be in the back seat of the class because like I just didn't want to be around the popular kids. I was like the smallest kid in class, like even though I was like, I had my age, man, but I was like the smallest kid. And so no, like my parents didn't really care for extracurricular activities. It was more like just go to school and come back, yaar. And you know how typical Indian parents can be sometimes. So at least one Indian parent. So yeah, so there was no like direct, oh, I want to join a media thing. I don't think my school had a media thing at the time,
Right.
because I left school in the 90s. I think maybe they would have started something like much later, but at the time they didn't have anything. They had theater though, which I really wanted to get into, but then it is a extracurricular activity, so that will take up money. So no. So yeah, no media like uh, education, but I suppose maybe radio played like a huge role. I remember listening to Richard on Dubai FM, and he was like fun to listen to, and then all these random people. And you probably might remember the World Chart show with Joe Ace Walker and Joe Cipriani.
World Chart Show, that's where even Rukanta had a song, right?
I can't remember if I heard a Lankan on that chart, but I remember like they always used to have it on a Friday for
Yeah,
4 hours or something, and that was such an exciting countdown.
yeah, I remember Rukantas. Remember this song Digante? I think that they played that on that chart show. I think it's the only Sri Lankan song to go on the charts.
Whoa, no ways.
Yeah, I remember listening to that before.
Wow, this is cool. The World Chart show, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
I wish you took a recording of that, because that would have been so good, man.
yeah. So,
Maybe
so how is the idea came to you? Like, to pursue radio or music journalism and stuff.
like you won't believe it, right? I I was a kid who had only aspirations to become like some kind of journalist, not necessarily like a subject like subject specific journalist. For me, it was like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And then after coming to Sri Lanka, I didn't know what I wanted to do because, dude, it's like a completely different country.
Right.
There, how do you find guidance in certain things? So I started like doing little things like I was a receptionist for one part of my life, and then I was a teacher, and I tried out different roles. And so one day my art teacher was like, "You have a voice for radio." I was like, 16-year-old me, voice for radio? Okay. I think she set me up. Sorry, I wasn't 16. I was 19 at the time. 16 was when I came to Sri Lanka.
Mm.
So at the time, she was like, okay, you know what? EFM is looking for people. Why don't you try it out? And so she set up a meeting, actually. And I went there. Oh my gosh, Channa, like that day, I was sick, man. Like my first interview ever, like proper. And I was like sick as a dog. And I took Samahan and Disprin, which was like the worst fucking combination ever, Machan, because I was like dizzy. I was like slightly high, holding on to the, bus. Buses in Sri Lanka, they're all crazy and stuff, and they have their mad speeds. So 19-year-old me's like, okay, I'm gonna be okay. And so, yeah, I went to the interview. I don't know what the fuck I said. I hope swearing is okay, though.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what I did. And the next thing you know, I'm hired in 3 days. And I was like, wait, what? Okay. So that's how radio began for me. Music journalism actually started much on because, like, for me, I'm very, if I like something, I really like something.
Right.
And so for me, like just listening to guys like Stigmata, like being exposed to like certain bands and artists, I felt like the media wasn't doing much. Like there weren't music journalists. Like for me, even when I call myself that, I don't mean to say I'm like the traditional skeptical type. For me, it's like finding out what's out there and bringing like information to people, because that's like super important. So my role is not necessarily like a skeptical, criticizing role, because I mean, who am I to criticize anyone's music? I'm not a musician myself. So I just wanted to really like encourage people and like really keep people in speed with what my friends were doing. Like, for
Mm.
example, not a lot of people knew if, someone left Stigmata, or if Nemesis, like, was calling hiatus for a while. Like, no one knew unless you were fans of the band. But what if there was an outsider who liked the band and didn't know shit? So how would they even? So it came out of a actual place of like, I'm angry because no one's doing shit, like proper shit. Like, the only thing, Macha, like I used to even read on papers is like the same one. Who is your influences? When did you start music? So it's like, can we please get beyond that? Because there's more to what this person is doing right now.
Right.
So yeah, it came from an honest place like that. So that's how it all began for me, Macha.
So from EFM, you also went to TNL radio, right?
Yeah, that was definitely such a good experience, man. TNL was so much of fun. I mean, I had the chance to work with a great like Anil Balasuriya, and that to me will never be replaced, because working with him, understanding music, as someone who's learning under him, I mean, that was like, so that was amazing, because Anil just opened up a whole new world for me, and he taught me so much about appreciation, and he
Mm.
taught me about how things really work in Sri Lanka and things like that, because I came as an outsider, like someone who just used to go to gigs, someone who always used to like keep tab on rock.lk. Remember that, right?
Yeah.
MySpace every now and then. So as an outsider, just coming in, absorbing all of that, that was just so good, and seeing how things are done at TNL on stage, the whole process, like growing with, that momentum of events and people, that was incredible.
So which period you were in TNL radio?
It was from, I think, 2007 till 2009.
All right. Yeah. So Anil, I think his radio name was Damien the back then, right?
Yeah, Damien on Spinning Unrest and the SL Hot 10.
Right. I used to listen to TNL radio, and I just went to Colombo and went to TNL radio so I can speak to Anil. I didn't know,
Oh,
like,
wow.
because I used to always call the radio show. Before, what we do is we have to fax it. Actually, it's before the request. You have to send a fax. So we had like a fax nearby our house. So my friend will go and fax it, and then we'll wait for the
Wow.
song to be played. And I actually had those tapes. We recorded the songs we requested from TNL.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, and I remember just going into that. I think the TNL radio was in Duplication Road, right? Like a house.
Fifth Lane, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I went there and I just said I want to speak to Anil. And I met him actually back then, a long time ago.
He's such a nice person, very down to earth, very approachable. And he's
Yeah,
such a walking wealth of knowledge and stuff.
yeah. So
I'm glad.
what are the shows you were involved with TNL radio, Yasmin?
Oh, wow. So, what were the shows? I did like a myriad of shows, but for me, towards the end, I think the shows that I actually loved doing um, was, to a certain degree, the evening show. And then after Anna left, I mean, wow, that was like, I think the one show that really challenged me, the two shows that really challenged me, the SL Hot 10 and Spinning on Rust, because those were like giant shows. No one could actually like do those shows unless you knew shit. So I think those shows really taught me a lot. So I think out of all the shows that I've done on TNL, it would just be those three.
Mm. So now you're doing the homegrown chart in ESFM, right?
Yeah.
So I saw from your Facebook you had a lot of memorable interviews with with some of the artists. So can you tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about some of those? Like, I know you interviewed Brown Boogie Nation when they came back to Sri Lanka, right?
Yeah, they were, I think Nish was yeah, I think Nish was in town at the time, so that was like, that worked out so well.
Right.
But you know, every interview, Machan, in my opinion, is memorable because it's either someone's first time
Right.
or like a significant like moment, or like just getting back together. So I cannot really, and I'm not being diplomatic here, but from a very honest place, it's like every interview is memorable for me.
Right.
And also there's been times, Machan, where I've had artists from the Sinhala music scene come in as well. And for me, that's like always such a great moment because I'm introducing someone brilliant from that scene to like a completely different market.
Right.
So for me, that is very fulfilling as a person, because at the end of the day, it's kind of also like humanly wonderful to be like, hey, here's like a person who has some amazing music, and you know, they could be a part of your life any day, like any of the artists you listen to. So when that happens, the connection is like so magical, you know?
Mm. Because what I remember, like back then, we had the English radio shows, radio channels, and then we had the Sinhala radio channels, right? So, but now I see that the English radio shows actually play sometimes they play actually songs in Sinhalese or Tamil or like that, right?
It had to happen because, dude, like, I mean, it's bullshit, you know, when you play songs like what, Daddy Yankee by Daddy Yankee, or like a Latin song or whatever, and here you are in a country where there's two beautiful languages,
right,
and you can't play them on English radio. Like, what? So I think that struggle was there for a long time, and I think a lot of people also fought for this particular thing because it's bullshit not being able to play at least a few lines in Sinhala or a few lines in Tamil because it's a hit. It's done by one of our own countrymen. I mean, we take pride when one of ours goes and does something amazing. But here we are not being able to play a hit by someone who's done something amazing and is being recognized by the world. Like, wow, are we hypocrites now? So I think after a while, English radio opened up to like playing Sinhala and Tamil in English songs. And I think that worked so well because now there's like a nice little harmony. And that's always such a positive thing for everyone.
Yeah. So I'm quite interested of the music scene in Sri Lanka, especially rock and hip hop, and so one of these things that's really part of that is the Colombo Tribe project, the Colombo Tribe
Yeah.
compilation, which you actually uploaded to SoundCloud, right?
We had the CD and I got the permission from my bosses, and because you know, music like that's like our music history.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's like 10 years down the line, Channa, if SoundCloud still exists and you want to show your sons and daughters, and even if you do have like and I really hope this happens for all the hard work that you're putting in, your very own like show on like a big like network, that you'll be able to like bring that music and talk about like people like the late Prasanna and Brown Boogie Nation and Rude Boy Republic, because they were the ones who, you know, really stood their ground and said like, we're gonna do our thing, nothing's gonna stop us. And also credit to Asif Ansar and Afdal Aziz for also taking the lead and being like, you know what, we don't care, we're gonna document this shit on a CD. And I'm so glad they did that. And they had plans to like bring back Colombo Tribe, but I think you know, in a digital age, how do you even? I think they were like slightly stuck with that because now there's so much of music coming out. Like literally, Channa, in a week you'd have anything from 10 singles to maybe even 20. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm done with updating Decibel, and then 3 more notifications come, and I'm like, okay, 10 more minutes, I got this, you know. Okay. So with all of that, I think having a Colombo Tribe project would be great right now, but I wish that there would be like a easier way to handle stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that they would have keep on doing that, maybe like a
Hmm.
mixtape or compilation that they can put out every year, whoever comes out, right? Because that would
Yeah.
be a great thing for Sri Lanka, actually.
But it's also very difficult, Channa, because of the volumes of music that's being released. Like back in the day, I can understand.
Hmm.
You They actually booked studios and they had engineers, and so there wasn't too much of music coming out, so it was easier to stream and things like that. Now it's like a whole different game, unless they start like a playlist on Spotify. Maybe
Yeah.
they could do that. Oh my gosh, I should definitely put the idea across to um, Aftel.
I actually started doing that for the guest who comes on the show. So I put up a mixtape for particular season. So I put out the
Oh,
first
that is
one
so cool.
so that people will can access their songs, the whoever comes in, right?
Dude, that is epic. Oh my gosh, do that. I'll share the hell out of it.
Yeah. So you bring up Decibel. So can you tell me how the Decibel started? Decibel.lk.
So again, I think this started from an honest place. Like I was, even though I had my homegrown show going, and this is before it became a countdown. I think I really felt strongly in all hearts of hearts that, like a once a week show wasn't going to cut it, because again, like there was always something new to look forward to every day from Sri Lanka's music scene. And who are we kidding? We need a proper daily show for this. And like my friends, they were still making amazing music, but there's only so much of music that gets on radio, but it's always going to be there on the internet as long as whatever platform that they uploaded on is there. And so I was angry about this. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do more. And so luck had it that I met Huzni. I don't even remember how I met Huzni. And so we started talking over plain tea and parada at Plaza. And the next thing you know, he's doing the back end, and I just gathered stuff for the front end stuff. And then, yeah, Decibel was born out of that very need to bring news from Sri Lanka's music scene. And then later, as time progressed, we had more amazing individuals come and help us, like Anuradha Jathilaka and Tariq Musafir, who's now also like a huge part of Decibel. There's also guys like Lakshan and Saveen and all the many, many people who've helped us throughout the years. Um, and later we progressed from just bringing news to going outside, getting gig footage, because that's like, snapshots of our reality, our music history. And I thought that would be such a great thing to document and have. Because even you, like all the way from the Philippines, you need a Joseph home. So it's always great to be like, bringing that. So that's it, man. Bit
So what
about
what
Decibel.
is Husni is also, he makes music as well, right?
Yeah, he's a rapper.
Yeah, because I actually saw him that he's actually like a PHP developer, and he's more into that side sort of things, right?
Oh my gosh, he's a brainy guy. Like, you
Right.
can't mess with that guy. He's so brainy, man. He will bash you with brains. But yeah, he's also like an amazing rapper who joined Brown Boogie Nation, I think, a little too late
Right.
during their last year or the year before the last or something like that. So, but he did a lot of like individual stuff, and that was good.
Yeah, I actually saw the performance that I think one of the 2015, I think the Homegrown Awards, I think he performed with the Colombo
2013.
tribe, with
2013,
Krishan,
the
BK,
first
and
one,
everyone,
yeah.
right? Right.
Wow, that to me was such a memorable thing. Like that was like the old and you know the guys who really did it, man. They were like on that one stage. I mean, how awesome was history?
Yeah, yeah. And then I remember there was another year that you had, I think I really like that you had the West Nahira guys and Nemesis doing like a
Yeah,
rap collaboration, right?
that was such a memorable thing, man. I mean, personally, I love all those three songs. And to me, I think that year was also such a monumental, life-changing year. I mean, the year before that, that's when they released Devi Ange Bare. So all those three songs came at a very, like, important time in my life. And so they were always, like, stuck to me. And so one day I was like, just imagine the possibility of all three merging together. And so after a bit of sweet persuasion, well, it was confirmed that they were going to be one of the acts. And I couldn't have been so happy with the way things went down. And it's still one of the most talked about and watched performances. And it's such a proud moment for history as well, you know?
Yeah. So, Yasmin, did you go to those days? Did you go to the rock company gigs?
Oh, Machan, you know, I wish I was very lucky like you. Because for me, I only been to like maybe 2 or 3 gigs. I never went to too many because number one, I was still very new with navigating places and I didn't know a lot of people who knew stuff. And so I remember my very first rock company gig though. I think it was at the 80s Club.
Yeah.
Somewhere around CRNFC. Oh my gosh, that place still confuses the heck out of me. You know, because the rows are so confusing. But I saw Stigmata there for the first time. Oh my god! When they played Under, I was like, "What the fuck is this? This is so good!" And then they did Voices and a bunch of other tracks. I saw Jalan Jai Kudi there. I saw, I think, Paranoid Earthling there. Sorry, I think I saw a few other bands as well. I think I also saw Noah's Ark. I saw a band. I wish I had like absorbed their name. A band with a girl drummer at the time. She had short hair. I saw Taunt and a few other bands. I think I might have also seen a few more, but memory recollection is shit. Because again, I was new. I was like, oh my gosh, ADHD. You know.
Yeah, because also, I mean, rock company made a big difference to the scene, right? Rock scene in Sri Lanka. Mr. Ajita, I mean, sadly he passed away, but he did a lot of good to this scene, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, I wish like he had been still a little more involved in things like that because what he did, I mean, it takes a lot out of a person to do what he would have done. And it's amazing that he continued for a very, very long time. And yeah, like his work, his efforts will never be replaced, you know? But that being said, Pubadu and the Surya brothers, they're doing such an amazing job with the whole revival of Rock Saturday and bringing it back and just really giving it that proper 2020. But sadly, nothing really happened in 2020, but they had so much planned out for this year. Oh, well, next year.
Yeah, 2020, we were like, last year, a lot of our friends were saying, oh, 2020 is going to be a big year for us, for the metalheads. And because there were a lot of major concerts supposed to happen in this region.
Yeah.
Like Iron Maiden, Slipknot, and all these big shows, but all of those got cancelled because of the COVID. So
it's tragic because even over here, Machan, we were gonna have so much going on. We were gonna have like World Metal Day celebrations that Pueblo was gonna organize, Rock Saturday, the Walk and Metal Battle, and yeah, COVID stole that from all of us. Like, because Nishi was going to go perform at the Walk and Metal Battle, like Indian subcontinent. Man, this could have been the year where we could have seen one of ours go to Germany, but COVID.
Yeah. We actually had a Filipino band last year. They performed on Wacken.
What?
Yeah, Valley of Chrome. They were chosen for to perform on Wacken. And they were supposed to also have the Wacken battle here, but it's same story. COVID, so it's not happening anymore. So,
stupid COVID, man! It just ruined everything. But I know one band from the Philippines that's so ace, man. Slapshot.
Yes. Yeah, they're
Really,
good.
really good band.
Yeah. Have you seen the song they did with the Black Eyed Peas vocalist?
No, no, I haven't come
You
across
should
that
check it.
one.
Check out the Apple D Rap. He's the like the one of the guys of Black Eyed Peas. He's also from the
Yeah,
Philippines.
he's like a
So
Filipino himself.
yeah, so that song is really good. Yeah, I've seen
Oh, that should
Slapshot
be
so
interesting.
many times actually. I've seen them a couple of times. It's pretty scary. I mean I go to a lot of mosh pits and stuff, but there's these three bands, Slapshot, Queso, and I can't remember the other one. So there's like they always play together. So
Okay.
the crowd is so wild.
Oh, so while you can't get in, boy.
Yeah, it's like I'm even scared to go in that because it's like
Whoa.
if something happens, it will easily become like a riot.
Oh, come on, with that papa body of yours, you can't take some. Mm, mm. Oh man,
you,
oh man.
Yasmin, remember one thing came out of Rock Company is the two Rock Company compilations, which I actually have the CDs, which I showed you a couple of years ago,
Yes,
right?
and you gave me like a copy as well. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah,
I
it's
haven't forgotten about the badge. Your badge is still in my cupboard.
so it's I actually try to keep all of those because I still have the like Independence Square, then also Alien Accent. What is this one? Brass Monkey Band. What's that?
Mm.
All of those bands, Stigmata and Whirlwind and all that CDs that I bought those days. I try
Wow.
to keep them because they're so precious
Yeah,
because
they're treasure.
it's so hard to find
They're
them
treasure.
anymore, right?
Machan, I don't know, like take copies of them, have them on your wall, save them from fungus and the elements, and
Yeah.
keep them because that's so like, I don't think a lot of people even have those albums, including myself, because we were either too broke or we lost all of them while shifting houses.
Right. Even Stigmata told me that they don't even have their first single that they released. I still have it.
Oh wow. Oh my god. Like keep it with you. You're the archive man. That's
Yeah.
a new name for you, Archive Channa.
Maybe Channa 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 archives, right?
Dude, that'd be rad, dude. By the way, I love your logo. It's so badass.
Yeah. And actually I try to keep like all the tickets and stuff. I lost it also some of them before. Like I went to like you remember there was Brian Adams came to Sri Lanka like those days. UB40
Yeah.
had a show, so like the first shows. I used to have those tickets. I lost it. But one thing I noticed, there was this one show. Um, you know the Indian band Orange Street.
No,
They're,
unfortunately, I don't.
they're like a rock band, and then they had a show in Sri Lanka in Viharmadevi Park. It's called Great Sri Lankan Rock, I think, and they were the guests.
Okay.
So a lot of Sri Lankan. This is I think when they were like starting the rock company thing. Like this was like the earliest.
Oh, right, right, right.
And then I found I was looking for the date of the show because I couldn't remember, and I was posting it in the Facebook, and somebody responded, and they actually had a print ad from the newspaper, and
What?
it was actually in Sinhalese. It says Orange Street Indian. It's so funny. It was in Sri Lankan newspaper. It's all in Sinhalese.
Oh, wow. Yeah, sometimes the translations can be like either a hit or a miss.
I mean that actually proved those days there was no channel for this type of music, right? There was no media outlets
Yeah.
for that type of.
Yeah, like the understanding was basically like really poor,
Right.
because you only get exposed to like certain things. So, yeah. But our
Yeah.
generation, man.
Yeah, because those days even the Sri Lankan scene was like they only put up shows for maybe it's for an election something or it's like some sort of a celebration on a place. Otherwise, there's no like people didn't put up musical
Yeah.
shows just for the music, right? It was always about somebody doing something or some political
Yeah.
something, right? Now it's the scene is different. So Yasmin, I think I first saw you at the 2016 Maelstrom. I think you were,
Maelstrom!
yeah, because I was there for that show. And then I think we met maybe a couple of days after at Anil's gig, right? Colombo land.
Oh, right. The one at yeah, I know the place.
It was
It
pretty
was
dark.
on top of yeah. No, that place was it Silk?
I
Was it
think
Silk
it's,
or was it
I don't know. I remember it was so dark. I was trying to take a video.
yeah.
It was too dark. You couldn't see anybody.
Yeah, no, I remember that gig because I think that club had that weird darky setting. So, but that was a good thing, man. That was like, yeah, I think the gig was really nice. It was like such a fun time, and I think they played like a few songs like off their. Uh, they're yet to release their album though. I know Anil has been working on it for a while.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was good meeting you in person.
yeah. I was hoping they will have Maelstrom again 2017, but didn't happen because of Keshan, right? Keshan passed away, right?
Yeah, dude, that was like, what the fuck? I mean, one minute this guy, he's like, dude, this guy was a gym buff. He was like a proper, I am taking care of my health and stuff. And he always used to be like the kind of guy who was so positive and things. I don't think anyone thought anything bad would ever happen to him. And then when everyone got the news of what happened, it was like, can that shit happen to someone who's like, evil and stuff and who doesn't have like a real purpose in this world? Like, what? I think that was such a huge shock to everyone. I think he passed away like far too soon. I think if he had been alive, we would have seen like bigger things, but it's still a void, I don't think anyone will again replace him because he was such a giant in his own right. I mean, if it wasn't for Keshan, we wouldn't have had an underground metal station either,
Mhm.
AWN radio. We
Yeah.
wouldn't have had a lot of the gigs. We wouldn't have had, um, yeah, a lot of the things we have now as well. Like he was such a supportive, like force, and most of all, like he was a friend to everyone. And I think that can be, a little hard thing to do sometimes, to be friends and to do what you do because it's again a lot of money, it's a lot of investment, it's a lot of like the way Kisham worked towards gigs was just like, dude, how do you even do that, humanly speaking? So yeah, I hope he's in a better place and I hope he comes back like reborn as someone amazing and hopefully his reincarnation will kick more ass than he did.
Yeah. So, Yasmin, when you shoot those shows, I know you shot a lot of shows, right? So, is it just for Decibel, or you do it just because of your personal passion?
Ah, see, Decibel to me will always be it's not like, oh, this is just a website and I'm like doing stuff. It's again, it's all my friends,
Yeah.
so I would always want to do that because it's always kind of nice to like have those moments for them as well. um I mean, yeah, sure, sometimes I cringe at the quality because I feel like I could do so much better. There's only so much an iPhone and a Zoom mic can do, but even just to have that as a look back, it's just so good.
Mm,
For me, it's just like, again, it's very personal. Like it's stuff that I love doing as well for my friends, so I don't see it as a chore or, oh, I'm just doing this for Decibel. It's not like that for
right.
me. Like, even though maybe people see it that way, it's not. Like, for me, everything's like, heart more than mind.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, actually, the same thing with me because I actually celebrated my 20th year going to concerts actually this early 2020 because I
Woo!
went to my first concert year 2000 February 1 I think. So
Wow.
20 years that
2001.
no, yeah, it was year 2000. Yeah, in Colombo actually that was the first show.
2000, okay.
Yeah. So I've been collecting all these videos and all these shows that I've been to, so many shows. So it's now actually becoming very useful because when I started interviewing these guys and I can find this old footage that they whatever they played, so it's really becoming a very valuable thing looking back.
Yeah, it is. It's part of our history, Machan. Like, and it's something that you can just look back one day and be like, yeah, this is us.
Yeah.
This is incredible stuff. So hang on to that. Oh my gosh, make copies of it on multiple drives.
Yeah, yeah. I have lot of them on online already. I backed it up online so that
Yes,
yeah,
Channa, archive man.
yeah. It's really like 10 years ago. I can still find some of the footages because I used to do this like most of the time. I used to take like the first song of the performance. I'll take a video of that and then I'll put the phone in my pocket and just enjoy the show. So I used to do that in a lot of shows. Just take the first song because
What?
they always come with a bang, right? The first song, it's always
Yeah.
where they have a lot of energy. So I used to take one video of that most of the shows, and then just after that, I don't like spend a lot of time taking videos because I want to like
Hmm.
enjoy the show. So Yasmin, you're also a voice actor, right?
I don't do voice acting, but I definitely read a lot of scripts and shit.
Right, right, right. I mean, it's because the stuff you did earlier, like imitating your mom or whatever. So,
Oh my god, yeah, I imitate a lot of people because sometimes I need some comedy in my life. Like especially my sisters, I love imitating them.
so what do you
Yeah,
do? You do like advertisements and stuff, or what do you do?
whew, I do like a myriad of things. Like, because as a voiceover artist, like I'm supposed to do quite a bit. It's not just like voicing commercials; it's just voicing whatever that's really needed. And there's so many different styles, from narration to commentary to um, different reads, like the slow reads, the fast reads, the sexy reads. Channa 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 podcast on now. Stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like a bunch of things. It's not limited to stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can be an old lady if you want me to, or a tiny child. It all depends.
Sri Lanka used to have a lot of these voice dub stuff like
Oh my God, China, they still do.
yeah. But there was to be very good stuff. Like there was a guy who's Titus Totawata, I think he passed away. He used to do all this Doctor Doolittle and Asterix and stuff. They translated it to the like Sri Lankan and they made it
Yeah,
very Sri
Sura
Lankan, right?
Papa
Yeah,
Papa
yeah,
Papa. Like people still love Sura Papa. They don't know Asterix and Obelix. They
yeah,
go
yeah.
Sura Papa.
They made
Oh,
it
dude,
very
it's
Sri
so
Lankan,
like,
right? The way they dubbed it, it's really like Sura Papa. It's not Asterix anymore, right?
yeah, I love how they like did a 360 with that and made it Sri Lankan. But Machan, there are still like things that are being dubbed. Like back in the day, it was Indian teledramas. Now
Yeah.
it's Korean teledramas. Oh my
Wow.
God! And you should see it. It's so bad. Like it's funny for us because it's funny to see like a Korean person like speaking in Sinhala. Ane, mama or yeah, it's funny. It's funny. Like you should Google it, man. There's some funny stuff.
So Yasmin, how is this because of the COVID thing? How's your are you getting your vegetarian diet? Is it getting affected? How what about the food and stuff?
Oh my God. I will never forget this in my life ever, Channa. Like for like lockdown was actually imposed, right? I went to the supermarket and you won't believe it. Like there was nothing.
Right.
Machan, usually like not a lot of people eat certain vegetables, right? And even those freaking vegetables were gone. The only thing that was remaining were a few dried leaves. No potatoes, no greens. There was only one green apple in that supermarket that I
Wow.
went to before the lockdown, and it was bad. It was honestly, I don't know, like as someone who has diabetes, I was like very I just didn't know, man. Like for 1 week, I remember not even having vegetables. Like it was just carbs and carbs and carbs. I thought my sugar levels were gonna go off the roof. Maybe they did go off the roof. It was bad. But thankfully, thanks to guys like Pick Me and, Uber Eats, and slowly like different individual apps like Eat Me, etc. Much, and there were all these like vendors who started selling stuff, and that was a lifesaver. I remember the first day I brought bok choy from like the truck outside. Machan, that was like, oh my gosh, there is food. For once, I don't have to eat like just pasta and or dal or whatever. I know it sounds so entitled right now, but it was bad like in the beginning. But I'm just grateful right now that at least I get like a healthy dose of vegetables, because it's just like even for a meat eater, it would have been too much, because there weren't a lot of places where you could get your meat or your eggs. And there was a time, Macham, where literally we had to like stay near our gate just to know when the butterman would come, or if we could buy milk powder for the house and stuff. Like, and our cats, like, I felt so bad for them, because all they had was dry food. We couldn't give them fish. And finally, when the fish man came, oh my God, like all the prices were so wrong. Like, I know we're staying at home, but that doesn't mean you have to raise the price of anything to like threefold, It was very unfair. But then it was pandemic. People were also finding it very hard to sell stuff. So, I mean, we all lived through it and we all have things to say now. It was difficult, but it's better now.
So, generally in Colombo, you're vegetarian or vegan?
Vegetarian.
Vegetarian. So, is there a lot of good options now in Sri Lanka? Like,
oh yeah,
because back in the
luckily,
day, what I remember is that you can just go eat only thosai and Indian. That's it. That's the only option Indian, right? Like vegetarian, right?
yeah, no, but I think like the clay pot shops or the matra game kades and places, like
Right.
they ask you what you want. Of course, Machan, you need to like tell them matra pure vegetarian one, or I need pure vegetarian. They don't understand vegan, the word, but when you say pure vegetarian, they get it. No umblakada or stuff, because they still add that shit in your vegetables and call it vegetarian. And I'm like, Malu is not vegetarian.
Yeah.
Like even to this day, I get asked, like, do you want some seafood? I'm vegetarian. What? It's ridiculous, but yeah.
So you became vegetarian because of health or for ethical reasons?
Because I had a rooster
Oh, okay.
called Chewy.
Yeah.
Like
I
he
remember.
passed away. Like I met the guy, and Chewy, like, really changed my life. Like, how awesome is a bird when it shows you like its emotional and like intelligence, and understanding of life and things like that. And when it gets close to you, it's like, what? Not a lot of people understood the fact that I had a rooster and this guy was actually like a little dog waiting for me to come home. No, literally there were days where he used to stand outside the doorstep just waiting for me to come home. That's the level of commitment this bird had. So with all that intelligence and stuff, like I was like, you know what, I can't bring myself to eating meat. So like it's been years since he passed away, but still to this day, maybe the only thing I actually miss is bacon, but I haven't touched bacon. I mean, chicken, fish, whatever, man. I can live without it. But yeah, I did it because of him, and I think I'll continue doing that because of him, because yeah, that bird, man, he changed a lot of things for me.
Yeah. Actually, I was vegetarian also for about 3 years. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, but I gave up because it's of course health wise there were a lot of benefits of that, but it was making a lot of inconveniences for my family when we have to go out or something. It's always like, they'll have to choose a place that I can eat and or something, and
Oh,
I got
wow.
tired of, especially in the Philippines where everything is pork. Even like
Yeah.
Malakata, they will put pork on the vegetables. So it's like it's very very small option that you can eat. But I do try to eat more vegetables actually at our home. So I feel that I do understand that certain animals has to be killed to for you to give that food, right? For you to have that food, but maybe best way is you respect that the animal that's getting killed, then uh,
Hmm.
I don't know, I mean, don't waste that food. One thing is you don't waste it,
Yeah.
and then if you can live without it, live without that, and just eat food. But one thing that really bothers me sometimes is I had a lot of vegan friends, and I was like part of the vegan groups. I used to go to the events and stuff, but because those things, normally the idea is this starts with the compassion, right? So veganism and
Yeah.
everything starts with compassion, but sometimes sometimes the ideal sort of overtakes the compassion, and they started sounding,
Oh God,
arrogant towards
yeah.
you, or they hate you because you changed or something.
Yeah,
So
I never understood that about vegans. Like, they get preachy and angry and like in your face, and I'm like, hold on, you do realize that there are people with actual medical conditions that, keep them from being a vegan or a vegetarian. And
right,
so what do you do? Like, maybe, what do you do in that case? Because I
yeah,
had a friend who was like vegan for so many years, but then one day she had like this issue with her body, only to see that she was lacking and severely lacking some like protein thing. And so the
right,
doctor was like, you need to drink beef bone broth and things like that just to regain and help your body recover. So unfortunately, she had to give up like being vegan because of that. And some people are able to continue that lifestyle, but some people aren't. And I
mm,
wish like if vegans could also be a little accommodating towards that thought, that would be such a great thing. Like, I understand they're fighting a good fight, but they're fighting, at least most of it, they're fighting it wrong.
right,
So, and also, Machan, what they don't understand is, like, in a country like the Philippines, I've been reading and watching quite a bit about, where you stay. And sometimes it's so heartbreaking to see that people don't even have enough money to eat. And so they resort to things like pog pog, and that's like so shocking.
yeah,
Like leftover McDonald's, like washed and then recooked so that someone can actually afford at least a modicum of what is fast food. Like, how heartbreaking is that? And you can expect that person to not eat and live.
mm,
So even if they have a piece of pork, well, that animal didn't go to waste because it's feeding another life. So that's something I could never understand about vegans. Like, fight the good fight, but understand where the world is before you actually fight for animal rights in that world. I mean, I have birds, but I can't tell anyone, oh, don't eat chicken. What I can tell them is, like, a bird is as brilliant as any other human you will ever see or meet in your life. The only difference is it can't talk, but it can definitely show you emotions.
right,
Um, and also, with my birds came experience of seeing how they grow, because all my roosters are broilers. And so just seeing, I have one right now, right? We give him the best food, but like there's a problem because these birds are genetically engineered. And so their bodies, they don't adapt after a certain time. They're paralyzed. And this little boy, like his growth is all wrong. Like he came to us as a proper little chick, I'll show you pictures of him. And then after a while, he stopped walking. And we were like, what the hell, man? Like his other partner, he walks, he runs around like a spring chicken. But this boy, he stopped walking. So we took him to the vet only to realize he has like a proper like deficiency. And to see that the only thing we can actually do is to feed him like high caloric foods and get him there. But even doing that, Channa, like the progress is very little to nil. So just seeing his life being affected by a very cool decision by someone years ago to like fuck up his genes. I mean, just seeing that's a testament in its own. So maybe for me, I share that with my friends.
Right.
But, if that compels you to be compassionate, I'll be so happy. But and also I feel like respect should come from within for animals. If you can't have that, like, how are you gonna even, if I tell you not to eat meat, you're not gonna understand why I'm saying that. I think, sorry, I just got a little too carried away over there, but yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I always say is compassion over ideals, right? So I think that should be the balance. So you should always look at the compassionate side of things, because we cannot always judge people like, not everyone is the same, right? And everyone's situations are different. So yeah. Yazmin, I was listening to you last night. I spent like 45 minutes listening to your Equal Ground talk you had on Equal Ground. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because I'm coming from Sri Lanka back in the days and all that. We never we never really talk about we knew that there were like gay people, and it was always there, but there was a lot of, I think you touched on that yesterday also, there's a lot of stereotypes kind of view. Everybody had that. In most of the Sri Lankans probably have that type of view that if you're a gay guy, you're just like a hairdresser or like beautician or something, like it's and then I see that over the couple of years that sort of it's actually influencing talking about the rights, equal rights. What do you see in Sri Lanka? What's the situation right now with Sri Lanka with regards to the LGBT community?
So this is just my observation. I feel like there is amazing progress. I think like places like Equal Ground, Rosanna, etc., they help forefront a very good community, a very tight community. And I think there's like little organizations that do the same too, provide support and help individuals in case they have like issues, because sometimes to be like a gay person or a person who doesn't identify as like a certain thing, it can be like very confusing. It took me almost 35 years to figure out who I really was.
Right.
And there must be so many people out there who don't really know why they are a certain way, and it's not like it's actually out there for out there in Sinhala, for example, for them to know what's going on. So these communities help with that. And I feel like with more people coming out, like the more strength you give to other people as well, like those who are really looking for it, like strength to find themselves, to go out there, look for information, and to really connect with people who could have like a positive change. I'd like to say that, there are a lot of people who are out, but also it's not like it's legal here. It's still like deemed illegal, but it's not like we're doing anything wrong by saying out loud that this is who we are. It's not like we're doing anything wrong. I mean, there are so many people out there who identify as straight and do the worst crimes. Like, oh my God, man. Like, just the other day, I read this horrifying story about like two people. Like, one guy had really like messed up a kid, like molested. And this kid was just like 18 months old or something.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that news.
That was like, dude, I mean, if you could have just given that kid to a gay couple, they would have adopted that kid and brought that child up in such a nurturing family home. You know, so many good gay couples are deprived of that. And I feel like most of them actually also live in a kind of fear, because still a lot of people are not accept for a lot of people, when they look at me, they still like to use the word she and not they or them, or just call me by my name, the RuPaul approach to things. So still that it's going to take a while, maybe a long while, maybe we might not even see it in our lifetime, but at least to know that there are people out there who are strong about them coming out and being, this is who I am. If I can share that with other people and just live my life like a normal human being, that would be great. And yeah, the impact has to happen too. So I really hope that happens.
Yeah, I mean,
as a collective.
Yeah, of course, the laws has to change, right? First of all, somehow.
Yeah, I wish the laws changed, like, because I mean, who are we kidding? There's so many people, like, in even like that political hierarchy who are possibly like even gay or lesbian, but they don't want to come out because, oh my gosh, like, what will the rest of the population think? Because they haven't been thought about it, they haven't been exposed to what different kinds of humans are out there. Because I think maybe it's because of the way things happened back in the day, you know, colonization and stuff. All that just defined as man and woman. There's no, but here's the weird part though. When you go back in history, there was so much of acceptance for people who were the third kind, who identified as male and female both.
Right.
Or had feminine traits and identified as a female more, or were born as a woman and identified as a male more. Like, there was more acceptance back then than there is now. But I like to think that at least the more educated you become on these things, the better people are. So I just hope that education really reaches people. And yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, also here in the Philippines, I think generally it's accepted that I don't think there is a law that prohibits here. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, they will have like certain pronoun to call you, like maybe they'll call you bakla or something. They have the certain words.
Right.
That's I don't know. It's slang. Most of the time, I don't think they use it with bad intention, but that's how they know.
Oh, right.
About it.
Okay.
Like they also have these things, like, you know how they recognize Indians here. Even me, because they think I'm an Indian. They call them Mumbai. But Mumbai is not actually, like, it's a city, right? It's not. So.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's really not like bad intentions or because they're racist. But this is how they know. That's how they talk. They've been using. Yeah. So
as long as they're positive.
Yeah. So you're also concerned about because I feel that there's a lot of like, you know, other places like in the US and Canada and all these places have a lot of they try to put laws, like people should use the right pronoun or to address somebody. Do you think it should go to that level, or it should be just a general culture and custom that people should follow?
I just feel like people should understand people.
Right.
But sometimes, unfortunately, people tend to be ignorant.
Mm.
So having laws, it does suck to like have that imposed, because that's like forcing someone. I wish there was like a nicer way of doing it, but some people, because of their attitude and arrogance, I guess laws have to be put.
Mm.
um so, and it's also like a good practice so that there is understanding and acceptance of who people are. It's a shame it's come to like making it into a law
Yeah.
where it's like that. If people actually respected each other more, to call them by their right pronouns, I think that would make the world such a great place, you know?
Yeah. I mean, as long as how you know how to derive
Address a
the,
person.
yeah, how to derive the proper pronoun, right? Because sometimes it can be confusing, right?
Machan, the best thing is you just have to call the person by their name. I think there's nothing more like
Right.
easier than that. Or just do a Machan, or like, hey.
Yeah, I think only in Sri Lanka we had this type of word machang, right? Because I don't really see that in the other like saying like oh dude or something. It's not really machang, right?
Yeah, I think Machan is like a much more broader, friendlier term than a lot
Right.
of people tend to understand.
So Yasmin, can you? I know that you're so up to date with all the music that's coming up in Sri Lanka with Decibel and all your shows and stuff. So who are the up and coming or we should focus on? Can you tell me few artists that you're really interested
Oh
or
my
excited
God,
about?
there are so many. Where do I start? Honestly speaking, Channa, like, there's always someone new every day or at least every week. So it's kind of hard for me to narrow that list or even make a list. So what I would say is, and also music is a very subjective thing.
Hmm.
But one thing I can tell people is just go to Decibel and find your sound. Find that one person who you can connect to, because Machan, like, oh my God, where do I start with all these really, really good bands? Like, and also, oh, I have to tell you something. It's come to that time in the world where in Sri Lanka we have like amazing record labels and platforms supporting. There's Surrender Records, there's guys like Island Sound, and also Bhakti, our very own Shihara. She has her own little Shihara Music where she
Hmm.
sells music by Lankan artists at very local prices. So with that, like, oh my gosh, how much more can you discover? There's so much out there.
Hmm.
And again, that's what I would encourage people. Like, find that person, find that sound, and tell them, I like you, man. That's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah, I heard the news about Serendip. That is Costa's label, right?
Yes. Costa, Sandun, Thiruna, David Luchau.
Yeah, they even signed already artists, right, to that label?
Yes. So they've signed Master D. Master D had his very first release on Friday. And they've signed, I believe, Colombo Cruz, who's like a DJ and producer. And I think they have like a few more surprise artists. Like, they put so many teasers, man.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I was kind of surprised with the how the Costa, you know, how he rise to that sort of music
Oh, wow. Yeah.
because he really brought that hip hop to the like kind of like the Sri
Sorry.
Lankan masses, right? Because it's really different. Because it's always the hip hop was more of like sort of it was not really going that level, but his songs it's all really like singly songs, right? With hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Single rap. Yeah. I
yeah,
think Costa is like such a success story of our time, and a very honest one at that. Like, dude, this guy, he put out Nura Machan, and that struck a chord with almost everyone who listened to it. And from there, he kept on really upping his game. Like, literally, this guy, even now with his status, he doesn't sleep, I think. He just keeps making beats. He's just like on the rise. And he always like takes time to understand his fans, understand the market. That's why he's one of the bigger success stories that we've had on iTunes Sri Lanka. him, the drill team, and also there VNS also.
Mm.
There's also one more artist. Oh yeah, Ridma Veeravardhana, Supun, Charithathalage. They all are amazing stories to see.
Yeah. And I know that Stigmata is also releasing the new single soon, right?
Yeah, about time, Sacred Spaces. And also, let's not forget Tenny's project, Shri Guitar.
Oh yeah, yeah. He said that will be like 40 guitarists, right?
I don't know how he's gonna manage, man. I was like, because I called the guy and we've spoken for a while, and it's like, whoa, that's crazy, man. I'm waiting for the day till he releases stuff. I think he's already sent something to the Stigmata group.
Yeah, I had Stigmata on this podcast and we had like a very fun episode actually.
Yeah, Suresh was talking about it.
Yeah. Because also I talked to Mirshad couple of weeks ago. Mirshad
Right.
was on because when Paranoid Earthling started, even the show you mentioned, you went to the CRNFT club, I think the Rock Company club. So when they
Were you
started,
there?
like, yeah, I was there, and then we were like, I was like one of the first fans of Paranoid Earthling. I was like the first couple of people who used to headbang to Paranoid Earthling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he still remembers me for that.
Wow, that's good. That's always such a good memory to have, you know?
Yeah, those like good old days, right?
Yeah, totally.
But Sri Lanka has a very healthy music scene now, right? Even metal rock scene now, right?
We do. We actually do have a very strong one, and credit goes out to everyone who actually put in their um, efforts, blood, sweat, tears, money, all that time. Also, from the Surya Brothers to Stigmata to guys who do their independent gigs, the Raven Command with Chaturanga and his boys, and man, I think the metal scene is very strong.
Mm.
And I feel like it's only time till, I mean, we have gone places. We've made history. A lot of people still ask me, why are we not mainstream? Bro, metal's not for everyone, but it is for those people who really are loyal to the genre.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like hip hop. Also, it's not like a fad genre. You're in it for the music, or you're not in it at all. So yeah, we have an amazing scene. We also have currently, I feel like, about the EDM scene, it's kind of on a slight hiatus
Mm.
because of what's going on, etc. And also like DJs and producers, they kind of need to have like a little creativity space. And slowly but surely, much on there's like news of new music releases coming from that spectrum. Hip hop and rap, for some reason, has taken over. So you can definitely see like a lot of releases from that end. Pop, I don't know where pop is. What is pop anymore in Sri Lanka? It's just like an amalgamation of so many genres. I think I went off topic, but I felt the need to explain.
Yeah, I was actually talking to a couple of people from Sri Lanka. I was saying that so Sri Lanka is an island where a lot of tourists comes in, and then it's sort of it's sort of a party place, right? Because a lot of people come in to
Yeah.
relax. They go to the beach. They have beach festivals or type of things and stuff like that. But if Sri Lanka focuses on having international concerts in Sri Lanka where people can travel, like, because India is just like
Yeah.
45 minutes away. If we have like big metal bands or whatever groups coming in and playing in Sri Lanka, like how they do it in Ibiza or somewhere, like, you know, you go in, it can be like really a good thing for Sri Lanka, right? If there were like big bands come to Colombo, a lot of Indian people will go from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, right? They will go to Sri Lanka, right?
Absolutely. I'm right behind the thought of music tourism in Sri Lanka. But
Yeah.
more than also bringing the bigger bands, I feel like we need to really like get our sound out there. because Ibiza and places like that, they don't necessarily rely on, you know, like guys from outside. They actually rely from like, if I remember correct, they rely on their own as well. And then they bring in like foreign elements because of their sound and whatever they have to offer. But everything is also very in Ibiza. So if that concept could be brought to Sri Lanka and nurtured in a way where it attracts people to come down for the Sri Lankan sound, I mean, how amazing would that be too? I think a lot of DJs and producers tried that a while ago. It worked to a degree, like Buka Buka and then Blueprint, etc. And those were phenomenal gigs from the EDM circuit. But yeah, more electronica than EDM. But
yeah. So any message? Yes, to the people who listening to the podcast.
well, you be you and make a positive impact wherever you are. And there was never an international scene without a local one. So support your band, support your artists, support the Channa 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 dude as well. Share. No, because I feel like that's one way you can obviously make an impact. Just share and let the world know that we have amazing talent, that we're doing amazing things. If, like, as a Lankan, if you're sharing things with pride, this is another reason for you to share with pride. Right. So share, man, with Lankan pride.
Yeah. Anybody you want to shout out to?
Everybody I know, because everyone's awesome.
Yeah.
And
yes.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So
and
this is
here.
Oh.
I have a
How many cats do you have?
Oh my God! Like right now, 13.
Wow.
And this is like the newest edition, in a way.
Right. It's cute.
Just 2 months old, and he's like climbing everywhere now. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. This was really fun to talk to you.
It was. Thanks for having me on your show, man.
So hopefully, let's see how these things will go. So I can come back to Sri Lanka sometime.
Yes.
And
hopefully there'll be a kick-ass gig too at the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So keep safe and keep continue to do what you're doing.
Chai Wei, my man. You take care and rock on, brother.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right.